You've been sifting through a lot of the data that these hackers put out there on the dark web. What'd you find?
Well, what we first found is that there was what's called 10 gigabytes of compressed data, which is a lot of information. So we actually started going through the data, and it turns out to be around 35 gigs uncompressed, which is a significant amount of data, which included internal company documentation, passwords for the corporate environments, like usernames and passwords for administrator accounts, but it also included around 38 million first names, last names, email addresses, street addresses, last four of the credit card of all of the users that had been members of Ashley Madison in the past, and that includes deleted accounts as well.
This type of data is so sensitive. You're looking at a website that, however controversial it is, it enables people to commit adultery. A lot of people use fake emails, they use fake names, so looking at this data, would you, as someone who's a security expert who kind of looks at this kind of thing a lot, would you be able to identify specific people?
There's a lot of people that you can identify specifically. Like for example, there's over 15,000 .mil and .gov addresses that were taken and found. Additionally, if you actually look at a large percentage of the names, they are legitimate names that can be tied back to individual locations and certain zip codes, area codes, and they actually have to produce that as part of putting in their verification for their credit cards. So we found around 70% of them to be legitimate or valid, that you can tie to an individual person. It looks like a large percentage of the database was males, like roughly around 93 to 98%. In addition, if you look at a lot of the data itself and the profiles, it wasn't just first name, last name, things like that. It was a large percentage of their profiles, who they are as a person, that type of stuff. So this is probably the largest breach of personal information that we've really seen in this type of caliber for something that's so sensitive.
How accessible is this data? Because we know right now that it's on the dark web, and you can only access the dark web through Tor and through certain ways. I can imagine a lot of people at home are thinking, I want to check and see if someone I know is on there. Are we going to get to that point?
There are sites spawning up where you can actually do email searches. You can, free of charge, go to these websites and actually put in people's first names, last names, zip codes, email addresses, and you can actually pull information back from the database dump.
When we look at this hack, how sophisticated were these hackers to be able to essentially breach all of Ashley Madison's servers?
I was actually looking through a lot of the analysis around the dump, and these hackers are pretty good. They use a lot of different techniques of getting access to Ashley Madison's entire infrastructure, and it appears to have had access for a long period of time undetected. So if you look at the techniques that they actually use, they look like they're pretty decent hackers, something that would definitely require some level of skill and some effort to actually breach this website.